A Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. A world of light and a world of darkness. Two cities, London and Paris, bound together by the rising tide of blood and the desperate hope for a new beginning. The setting. Welcome to a journey through Charles Dickens' most powerful historical epic, A Tale of Two Cities. Set against the thunderous backdrop of the French Revolution, we step into a landscape where the guillotine casts a long shadow over the streets of Paris, and the relative stability of England is haunted by ghosts of the past. At the heart of this storm are two men, linked by fate and a striking resemblance: Charles Darnay, a French aristocrat who has turned his back on a legacy of cruelty, and Sidney Carton, a brilliant but disillusioned lawyer who believes his life has no value. Through them, we explore a tapestry of intertwined lives, where every act of hatred is met by an even greater act of love. This is more than a story of war. It is a profound exploration of resurrection and transformation. It asks the ultimate question: in an age of mindless chaos, what is the price of a single life? And what are we willing to sacrifice for those we love? Join us as we dive into the full account of Charles Dickens' masterpiece. A story of the shadows that define us and the light that eventually finds us. This is A Tale of Two Cities. The opening hook: it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom and the age of foolishness. The season of light and the season of darkness. In the year of our Lord, 1775, the world stood on a knife's edge, balanced between the spring of hope and the winter of despair. The setting: on the thrones of England and France, kings and queens sat with certainty, believing the world was settled forever. But beneath the surface, the winds of change were blowing. While England busied itself with spiritual revelations and ghosts, a distant Congress of British subjects in America was sending messages that would change the human race forever. The stage is set. The shadows are lengthening. Welcome to Chapter 1, The Period. The French brutality. While France rolled smoothly toward ruin, she entertained herself with shadows. For the crime of failing to kneel in the rain, a youth is condemned to a death too horrific to name. But even as the torches glow, the woodman, fate, has already marked the trees that will become the guillotine. The farmer, death, has already set aside the rustic carts that will soon carry the condemned through the streets of Paris. They work silently, with muffled tread, and to notice them is treason. The English chaos. Across the Channel, England boasts of order, yet trembles in the dark. Highwaymen rule the nights, a tradesman by day, a masked captain by moonrise, shooting his own neighbors for a purse of gold. Even the Lord Mayor is not safe from the pistol's aim. From the diamond crosses snipped from noble necks to the bloody battles between prisoners and turnkeys, the law answers only with the blunderbuss and the noose. The hangman is weary, and the tumbrils are waiting. This is the world of the period. The year 1775, all these things, the blood, the gold, the shadows, and the screams, unfolded in the year of our Lord, 1775. A year that seemed like any other to those who held the world in their hands. The rulers and the ruled, while the woodman and the farmer worked their silent, deadly trade. The kings and queens of England and France trod their paths with pride. They carried their divine rights with a high hand, oblivious to the storm gathering at their heels. They believed they were masters of their fate. The journey begins, and so, 1775 led them all, the greatnesses on their thrones and the myriads of small creatures below, along the dusty roads that lay before them. Among those small creatures, our story begins. A chronicle of lives caught in the gears of history. The setting: a Friday night, late in November. The Dover Road lies shrouded in darkness and thick, clinging mire. Here, our story truly begins, at the foot of Shooter's Hill, where the heavy Dover mail lumbered through the mud like a great, tired beast. The struggle: the hill is steep, the harness is strained, and the mud is relentless. Beside the coach, the passengers walk, not for pleasure, but out of necessity. The horses have already mutinied 3 times, their heads drooping, their bodies floundering as if falling to pieces at the joints. Every step is a battle against the earth itself. The tension every time the team stops to breathe. The lead horse shakes his head with a violent rattle, as if denying the hill can ever be conquered. And with every rattle, the passenger starts, nervous, watchful, and disturbed in mind. On this road, in this darkness, everyone is a stranger, and every sound is a threat. The unwholesome mist, a steaming, clammy mist, roams the hollows of Shooter's Hill like an evil spirit seeking rest and finding none. It moves in ripples, a dense and unwholesome sea that swallows the light of the coach lamps. The only thing visible is the reek of the horses, their hot breath steaming into the freezing air as if they themselves were creating the fog. The masked strangers, 3 passengers, plod through the mire, wrapped to the cheekbones in heavy coats and jackboots. Not one knows the face of the other. On this road, every man is a secret. In 1775, a stranger is not a friend, but a potential shadow of the captain, the highwayman who might be lurking in any alehouse or stable along the way. The guards watch behind the coach. The guard stands on his lonely perch. He beats his feet against the biting cold, but his hand never strays far from the arm chest. Below him lies a grim collection, a loaded blunderbuss, horse pistols, and sharpened cutlasses. On the Dover Road, peace is only kept by the weight of lead and steel. Mutual suspicion. The Dover mail was a carriage of secrets. The guards suspected the passengers suspected each other, and the coachman was sure of nothing but his exhausted horses. On this road, trust was a luxury no one could afford. The summit, with a final, desperate scramble, the coach reaches the summit of Shooter's Hill. The passengers, their jackboots caked in mire, huddle close to the light. To walk ahead into the darkness was to invite a bullet. On the Dover Road, every shadow was a highwayman until proven otherwise. The warning, suddenly, the coachman freezes. Through the mist, a sound, the rhythmic beat of hooves. "A horse at a canter," says the driver. "A horse at a gallop," corrects the guard. In an instant, the weariness vanishes. The guard cocks his blunderbuss, his voice cutting through the fog. "Gentlemen, in the king's name, all of you." Suspenseful, breathless, and sharp. Music cue. The orchestral music drops to a low, vibrating hum. The only sounds are the heavy, rhythmic panting of exhausted horses and the rapid heartbeat of the watchers. The frozen moment, the world stops. One passenger is caught on the coach step, half in, half out. Below him, the others freeze in the road. Even the lead horse pricks up his ears. The rumbling of the wheels has ceased, leaving a silence so heavy you can hear the quickened pulses of men holding their breath in expectation. The arrival, then, the sound, a horse galloping fast and furiously through the mire. "Stand! I shall fire," roars the guard. From the choking mist, a voice calls out, searching for a single name, Mr. Jarvis Lorry. The guard's hand tightens on his weapon. On this road, a mistake is a death sentence that can never be undone. The revelation, eyes turn. Suspicion falls on the man on the step. The message has arrived. The mystery of the Dover mail is about to begin. The trembling question, with a voice slightly trembling from the cold and the fear, the passenger finally speaks. "What is the matter? Is it Jerry?" On the roof, the guard mutters a dark warning to himself. He doesn't like the sound of this Jerry, a voice too hoarse, too ragged, too much like a threat in the night. The swift exit, the recognition is mutual. A dispatch from T and Company, Tellson's Bank. As Mr. Lorry steps down into the mud, his fellow passengers assist him with more speed than politeness. They want him out. They want the door shut and the windows bolted. To them, he is no longer a companion, but a target they wish to distance themselves from. The standoff, the guard remains unconvinced. "I hope there ain't nothing wrong," he growls, his hand never leaving his weapon. From the thick, swirling mist, the messenger emerges, Jerry, his voice like grinding gravel, answering the challenge. "The message is here, and the night has just grown colder. Come on at a foot pace. The guard roars, his finger twitching on the trigger. Out of the swirling mist, a mud-caked rider appears. Horse and man are exhausted, covered in the filth of the road. A small, folded paper passes from a trembling hand to Mr. Lorry. The guard remains a statue of lead and iron, watching for the slightest move toward a holster. The cryptic answer, in the dim glow of the coach lamp, the message is revealed. Wait at Dover for Mamselle. Mr. Lorry looks into the darkness and gives a reply that chills the air. Recalled to life. Jerry the messenger starts in his saddle, a blazing strange answer, he mutters, before vanishing back into the fog. The descent. As the coach lumbers into the descent, the fellow passengers hide their gold in their boots, feigning sleep to avoid the unknown. The mist closes in, heavier than before. The guard checks his pistols and his tinderbox, prepared for a night where the lamps might go out at any moment. He leans forward and whispers to the driver. Tom, did you hear the message? The guard's confusion above the coach. The conversation is brief and empty. What did you make of the message, Tom? Asks Joe. Nothing at all, comes the reply. A coincidence indeed, for in this dark year of 1775, the truth is often buried deeper than the mud on the Dover Road. Jerry in the dark, left alone in the suffocating mist, Jerry dismounts. He wipes the grime from his face and shakes a gallon of rain from his hat. The silence of the night returns, heavy and absolute. He looks at his spent mare, his only companion in the gloom, and mutters to the shadows. He is a man who deals in secrets, but this one feels different. The warning, recalled to life, he croaks, his voice like grinding stones. That's a blazing, strange message. He shakes his head, a cold realization dawning on him. If bringing the dead back to life ever becomes the fashion, a man like Jerry Cruncher might find himself in a very bad way indeed.